We're painting more pumpkins today with this pumpkin patch painting. Let's do a nighttime scene this time. So taking my mop brush, I'm using dark blue and purple to create a radiating moon. With those colors on my brush, I started where my moon would be located and started doing circular brush strokes moving out from that moon. So I'm just making a swirl moving out and then filling it in as I go, kind of alternating between the blue and the purple. And notice how the circular brush strokes travel off the edge of the canvas and then connect on the other side, so the circles are off center. As I get towards the outside edge of the sky, I'm going to use just my purple. I still have the blue on my brush, but I want it to be mostly purple, framing that moon like this. And keeping with the curve of the sky, I'm going to bring it down to where the ground would be, but you don't have to go all the way down. Now, taking about a size 8 round brush, while the sky is still wet, I'm going to take some white paint and add my moon. Start where you started before and do a bright white circle like this. It's going to blend into that blue a bit, but as I'm getting it bigger and bigger, once you have it as big as you want, I'm going to start making the big circular brush strokes, highlighting the curves of the radiating moon. This is going to make it look like the moon is shining down onto the pumpkins in the end. It's important you do this while your background is still wet so it blends. Otherwise, the white is going to be very, very bright and you're going to have to go back and blend it anyway. So I'm gonna fix up my moon here, make it a little bit more round. And if you don't like it subtle like this, my white blended into my blue, I'm going to dry it and then you can go back in with just some more white and really make it pop. See, this is what I mean. If you dry the paint, the white is going to stand out so much more. So I'm just going to do this to the circle where my moon is. And there we go. That's how you do a radiating moon sky. Those are some of my favorite backgrounds. Next, let's add the ground. I'm taking a mop brush with dark green. I even tinted it with some white to make it look like the moon is shining on it. And we're going to just do back and forth strokes at the bottom of the canvas. Notice how I added some hills in the background. You don't have to have a perfectly straight line there. And if you need to, dry it and do 2 coats. I added a second coat down here at the bottom to make it darker. And then make sure it's completely dry so that we can start our pumpkins. Using about a size 6 round brush, we're going to start making the pumpkin shapes with white. This is going to be the underpainting. So starting at the bottom of my pumpkin, I did a small smiley face. I'm going to turn that smiley face into a tall oval shape like this and fill it in. This is the front section of your pumpkin. And then to create the other curves, I'm going to do 2 little curves like this. I always say make it look like it has a mustache. They're slightly higher than that bottom curve. And then create 1 big curve that looks like a backward C here on the right-hand side. Fill that in. It's important you're doing very thin coats, by the way. You do not want this base layer to be thick. And then I'm going to do a letter C on the other side. Make sure you get all the drips out. The point of doing this white is so that your orange is really going to pop. And keep adding sections the exact same way. 2 little curves on the outside edge, and then create those backward C's and C sections as you go. So I like to do a couple on either side and then step back to see if you need to add any extra sections. So see over here, I'm gonna round it off with a really thin section that's really only on the top left-hand side and top right-hand side like this. You can't see the bottom near as much because it's hidden from the front of the pumpkin. So there's my pumpkin shape. Make sure that white is completely dry again so that we can give it a color. Even though the orange I'm using is called pumpkin orange, I still think it's too cartoonish, so I'm tinting it with some brown to give it more of a fall tone. And then I'm going to fill in my pumpkin the exact same way that we created the shape in the first place. It's important that you use the same brush strokes. This is going to help the paint go on much smoother. And again, keep it thin because we're going to add more layers. Fill in your entire pumpkin this way so it's just one big orange shape like this. Perfect. Now, before it dries, let's add some ribs. I'm taking my same round brush with brown mixed with some orange, and I'm just kind of outlining the curves of the pumpkin. It does not have to be a perfect outline. You can just kind of pick and choose wherever you want to give some shading. I'm even going to brush up some of the dark brown from the bottom, and I like to make it a little bit darker at the bottom because that's where it would be shaded the most. But it's up to you how dark you make it. And let's do a few at the top like this. If you need to, you can use a smaller brush. I'm just using a light brush stroke. Then I'm going to dry it so we can add a highlight. Now I'm going to do something I haven't done before. Taking the same brush with mostly yellow and white, I'm going to add a super bright highlight, just brushing it down from the top of each of my pumpkin curves like this. I'm going to fight the urge to blend it back in with orange. I just really want it to pop. And up close, not gonna lie, it looks a little funny, but when you step back, it's going to make the pumpkin come to life. It will look much more three-dimensional, and it'll look like the moon is shining on it. So I'm going to keep my yellow there. See that shape? I love that. It really brings out the orange, even though it's yellow at the top. Now, let that dry. Let's add some more pumpkins in this pumpkin patch. I'm taking a slightly smaller round brush now, and we're gonna do the exact same thing, just on a smaller scale. My original vision was one big pumpkin, a medium pumpkin, and a bunch of kind of varying smaller pumpkins around it. So this will be the medium pumpkin, starting with that big oval in the center, and then start adding those pumpkin curves on the outside edges like this. You could stop with just 3 curves there like that, but I'm going to add a few more. Don't forget those C's and backward C's. And notice how, I didn't say this in the first pumpkin, but notice how each of the sections get slightly thinner as well. So much thinner ones on the outside edge, and then you can always add partial sections or curves on the outside if needed. There, that's a medium pumpkin. Dry the white. Again, you want to make sure a thin coat so you don't have any buildup, because you're going to add the orange layer next. We're going to do the same steps, keeping with the same brush strokes. If you do that, it's going to go on much smoother. And then once you have your pumpkin completely filled in, we can add the highlighting and shading. So it should look something like this. I'm going to switch to a size 0 detailed brush because we're going to start doing tiny details. Let's add the shading to the ribs. Same thing, I have some dark brown I mixed with some orange, and I didn't dry it. My pumpkin is still wet, and this will help it blend a bit easier. Again, you don't have to do a full outline, just do the shading wherever you feel it's needed. I did some along the top, and then especially along the bottom, I made it slightly darker and added some shading coming up from each of those sections like this. Then we can add the yellow highlight. I'm going to use the detail brush for this because the highlighting is much smaller, even though it's a medium pumpkin. And I'm brushing it down from the top. Now, I think I did go back in and blended some of this with the orange just because it got really bright, but I'm still leaving the highlight mostly yellow to make it stand out. The purple in the sky behind it complements the yellow, so I think that's what makes this combination work really well. There's my 2 big pumpkins. Now let's add some tiny ones around it. I made sure that medium pumpkin was completely dry. And then use whatever brush you feel comfortable with adding little pumpkins, but I'm going to do an assortment of them around this medium pumpkin. Now notice this little pumpkin is also overlapping with the medium pumpkin. I'm doing the same steps, but that's why you want to make sure that medium pumpkin is completely dry so that you can layer. And because all my pumpkins now are smaller, I'm going to do them all at the same time. So I'm going to do a bunch of white ones. I even want some behind this medium pumpkin, but my ground didn't go up far enough, so I'm actually going to add a slightly taller hill with my round brush and some of the green and white like this. I'm going to take that opportunity with some of the green and white to highlight some of this hill. See how dark it is down here at the bottom? I'm going to brush down some white highlights here to give the ground some more dimension. Little details can make all the difference. There we go. So I'm going to make sure that's dry and then add some even tinier pumpkins. I'm going to switch to a detail brush to have the other ones way off in the distance like this. So adding that little extra bit of ground gave me some room to put them so that they're not floating in the sky. As always, it's up to you how many you do. I'm going to do 4 more like this and dry them, and then take my detail brush and fill them in the exact same way as before, filling them in with the orange first, and then you can add the shading and the highlights. I would definitely use a detail brush or the smallest brush you have to try to get the little details in the pumpkins way in the distance, but because they're so small, you don't have to stress about getting all the details perfect, as long as you can kind of see the impression of the shading and the highlights. I got all my shading in there. Using my detail brush, I'm taking the yellow and I'm gonna brush down those highlights the exact same way. You'll be a pumpkin painting pro after this, doing all of this practice. It's very repetitive. Once you get the hang of it, it turns out to be a lot of fun. So once you get to this point, it's time to add the stems. And for the stems, I wanted to do something very different. Remember, you can do normal stems if you want, but I'm going to make mine white. Taking a small round brush, I like to outline the tops of my middle curves here. And then I like to do kind of a curved line at an angle going up, almost like a top hat, angled at the top and then curved down to the other side. That's a simple stem shape. I'm gonna do something really crazy though and do some curved lines like vines coming out from my stem like this. So see, I did one curve here, and then you can have fun and design it however you want. I'm gonna have one big curve that kind of waves around and goes off the top of the picture, almost like a tree, but it's not. It looks like it's playing with the moon. Let's do another fun swirl there. How about another one that curves all the way down? The vine is going down onto the ground like that. And how about one more curve like this? Oh, that was so much fun. Okay, I'm not going to go as crazy with these other ones, but I did switch to my detail brush and did the same thing. I'm outlining the top little curves of these tiny pumpkins and adding that top hat with the angled tip like this. Oh, I just think that's fun. I think it brings out the moon, but again, you can do whatever color stems you want. So I'm gonna even do one more right here. I don't know, that was probably too much, but I feel like it needed something. And with my detail brush, I'm even gonna take some white and do some very simple little curved or wavy lines coming out of these smaller pumpkins. Maybe even some little curved lines to make it look like there's vines growing on the ground like this. I don't want it to be too busy, but I think this just gives it so much character, so much fun. As always, make it your own and add your own details. So I'm gonna stop there. Now I dried it and I'm going to add some leaves with my size 8 round brush from the beginning. Now to do leaves, I'm just going to do very simple little brush stroke taps like this. I'm kind of turning my brush to use the side of it, and I'm just tapping in little clusters all along the bottom of my pumpkins like this and in the green. We're pretending there's a fall tree in the distance that blew some leaves down onto the ground. And I'm going to do the fall colors. So I did dark red, I'm doing some orange clusters throughout, and let's even do some bright pops of yellow like this. Have fun with it. I think this just helps tie it all in. I'm going to add some dark brown leaves here like this. And if you really want to have fun with detail, grab a detail brush with some of your green and add tiny little clusters of grass. To make your pumpkins look like they're sitting in the grass and just not on top of a green background, it also helps to add some little grass brush strokes in front of the bottoms of your pumpkins like this. There's a better close-up. Anywhere you see very big blank spots, you can add little clusters of grass, and the extra texture makes it pop. To add some more dimension to the stem and the vines, I also tinted my white with some of the dark brown. You can barely see it on camera really, but in person, this really just gives it another dimension. I did that to some of my little pumpkin stems as well. Let's add a few more bright pops of yellow on the ground. I love all these colors together. And as a final step, this is optional, but I'm going to add stars. Using my splatter paint technique, just take a flat brush with some white paint. I water mine paint down slightly, and don't forget to cover up your pumpkins. Just use a scrap piece of paper for that. And then with my painting flat on the table, I'm taking my brush with the watered down paint and just tapping it over top of another brush handle. But if you want, you can take a toothpick and add some individual stars if you don't like the splatter technique. My paper covered up the bottom of my sky, so I am using a combination of both the splatter and the toothpick just to add them all the way down to the bottom. As always, have fun, make it your own, and I can't wait to see how everybody's turns out. Have a great weekend, everybody.